Hey everyone, I'm Caleb Dennison, and not that you can tell, but I'm in New York City right now at Sony's headquarters. Why? Well, because this TV isn't going to be landing in my testing lab anytime soon. I am, of course, talking about the 85-inch 8K Z9G LED TV from Sony. So before I start talking about that gigantic thing behind me, I want to talk about this little guy right here. This little 30-inch monitor is actually astounding. This is the professional Sony grade monitor that many movies, all of Sony's movies, are mastered on. And it's important because it is the reference standard. This is what the creator looks at when they're trying to make the movie look the way they want it to look, whether it's in the cinema or in your home. Now it's glitching out right now because of the overall setup here is a little bit funky, but as you can see, it's a gorgeous picture. This is the BVM X300, and it costs more than that 8K TV behind me because it's an RGB OLED, and it can do things that no consumer television can do. So why am I bringing all this up? Because Sony wants their TVs to reproduce what the creators see here on this amazing monitor right at your home. So let's talk about some numbers right now. In that little reference monitor I just showed you, at 4K, you get about 156 pixels per inch. That is high, that's high resolution. And even if you're sitting right on top of that thing, you can see some pretty amazing detail in 4K resolution. Now, bump up the size to about 55 inches, and the pixel per inch count in 4K drops down to around, oh gosh, I think it was like 86, okay? So a little bit better than half, but still almost half the actual resolution or pixel density than you get in this amazing reference monitor, right? And of course, you're sitting further back from it, so maybe that's a little less important. But then things start getting really big. When you get to an 85-inch TV, if it's in 4K, and there are plenty of 4K 85-inch TVs out there, don't worry, the picture is just gonna cycle here for a second, you're dropping down to something like 45 pixels per inch. But you're still sitting at the same distance that you would from a 55-inch TV. Most people aren't going to move their couch back, even if they could, all right? So what you need, or what Sony says you need anyway, is 8K resolution to get that bumped back up to 90 pixels per inch so that you can maintain the level of detail that you see on a 4K TV at about 55 or 65 inches in a much larger screen size. That's awesome. But what about the 8K content? Right, so there is no 8K native content that you can enjoy on these TVs right now. I think Japan is gonna broadcast the 2020 Olympics in 8K, and China's committed to doing the 2022 Olympics in 8K. That's like 2 events in 3 years in 8K. Not very exciting. But as Sony put it to me earlier, and I do have to agree with them on this, why would anybody start making 8K content unless you had something to show it on? These guys have to make the 8K TVs in order for the rest of the production pipeline to catch up and start making stuff for the 8K TVs. And that's an important consideration, because what I see on this TV is so realistic, you can pick out fake objects way easier than you can on a 4K TV. I can just imagine, what if they made like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the way they made it back then, and then filmed it in 8K with the equipment that we have now? What would that look like? Well, Harrison Ford would look really real, and those boulders and stuff would look really fake. Detecting the difference between organic, real objects and completely fake objects is ridiculously easy when it's in 8K on an 8K TV. It's something that you have to see for yourself. So I hope that in the coming months you get down to whatever retailer has this kind of a TV and you go see what I mean. 8K content on an 8K TV, 85 inches or above, is the truth. But we don't have that right now. So what are we doing? Why would you buy this TV right now? Well, personally speaking, if I had the money, I would be buying an 85-inch 8K TV so that the 4K content that I have access to now looks that much better. Here's the great news. When you're talking about going from 4K to 8K, there's so much more information in the 4K source material to get to 8K than there is even with 1080p source material to get up to 4K. So the upscaling job is actually a lot easier. The same chip that will upscale 1080p to 4K is actually going to do a better job. It's going to look better when it goes from 4K up to 8K. I know I've said this a bunch in other videos. I'm going to say it again. When you get up to a screen size of like 85 inches, 4K looks good. It does. But when you can upscale that to 8K, it looks amazing. You can see the difference. The question is, do you want to pay for it? Well, I hope some people do, because what we need to do is get these 8K TVs out there in the wild, get people seeing them, get the prices to kind of come down. Basically, I want to see a repeat of what happened with 4K. 7 years ago, same exact thing happened. These TVs came out, they were super expensive, there was no 4K content to feed them. People said, why are you doing this? But everybody did it anyway. And eventually we get to where we are today. And if you're gonna stand there and tell me that there's no 4K content to watch, not true. I understand that it's really hard to get it through cable or satellite, but there's tons of 4K content on Netflix and Amazon and other streaming services, plus you can buy a bunch of discs and watch it. When you're into that really great experience, the material is there. And I think in 7 years, maybe even less down the road, we're going to be in the same situation with 8K, where there is some quality 8K content to show up on the TV. So that's the case for 8K. What about the Z9G itself? What's new? What is it bringing to the table besides 8K resolution? Well, for one thing, Backlight Master Drive is back. All right, we remember this from the Z9D. It's one of the things that made that TV excellent, and I see that it is back again. Backlight Master Drive is Sony's proprietary backlight system, and it's not just the LEDs that they put behind this thing. There's some processing there, different planes of filters on the screen itself. Bottom line is, it can create an impressively bright, punchy picture from corner to corner, top to bottom on this TV, and it does a really great job with local dimming as well. What I've seen so far is that black levels occasionally take a little bit of a hit, and by that I mean just slightly grayed out, but the shadow detail is immense. Like, again, if we're going to talk about creator's intent, I'm definitely seeing all the details in the image that I wanted to see. And it can ramp up better from total black through all those subtle layers of gray much more smoothly than I've seen with some other televisions. So a lot to be excited there, thanks to Backlight Master Drive. Another good piece of news, Android TV actually works on this TV. I can't believe I'm finally saying this, but they really boosted the processing power. Outside of the X1 Ultimate chip, there's plenty of processors here, and the one that runs Android TV is powerful enough to do it now. I don't know if Android TV is just super resource intensive, but this TV is zippy, very zippy, no problem getting through all the menus, and they've made it easier to get to the settings because the remote control, which has been completely redesigned, now has a settings button, so you can just pop right in there. For people like me, that's a lifesaver. But in addition to Android TV working well now, which is nice, there's also the fact that they've added Apple AirPlay 2 and HomeKit support for this television, so it can work with the Apple ecosystem. You can just have Siri start playing something on your living room TV really easily, and it also supports Alexa. And as far as that voice control goes, you can enable it on the TV itself so that it's always listening, just like an Amazon Echo speaker, and you can say Alexa or OK Google if you want to, hey Siri. Or you can just leave it for the remote, press the little button on the remote, and that activates the voice recognition. So there are varying levels of privacy there depending on what you want. Now I have to be honest with you, everything I'm telling you about picture quality right now is totally subjective because I don't have any measurement equipment here. And in fact, I'm only getting about an hour, hour and a half with this TV, and obviously a lot of that time is spent on shooting video. What I can tell you though is just standing back, watching this TV, enjoying it, I'm very, very impressed. I do not know how it stacks up against the Z9F or the Z9D. I'd say that the overall punch and black levels are closer to Z9D than they were with Z9F. I'm going to look at this. I haven't decided whether this is IPS or VA right now. I will look into that and I'll publish that in my written report as I make a little more progress with this TV, but I'm not sure that stuff really, really matters. I mean, we're talking about this very specific 8K model, and you know, it kind of stands alone. So really, we just need to step back and look at it and decide, does this look awesome? What about this particular television? Why this particular 8K TV as opposed to one of the many others that all the other major manufacturers are making right now? Well, in a word, it's going to come down to processing. I know talking about processing is not sexy. I said that actually in 2018 at CES when I awarded Sony's X1 Ultimate Processor the Best Tech of CES award in the video category, which had never been done before. Like normally you give it to a TV or a Blu-ray player or something like that. I gave it to this processor because I see its potential. I think it is a trailblazer in the industry. Processing makes the difference. You can look at the exact same panel between two manufacturers and see a very big difference in the very fine details of quality between the two because Sony's processing is just a little bit better. Now, admittedly, most people aren't going to notice the stuff individually. Like they may not see the banding or the artifacts or maybe the boost in the overall tone curve. That's really something that like TV reviewers like myself talk about, right? But when you sit there and you just sort of take in the picture, there is definitely a quality difference that you feel overall. You take it in aggregate. So when you don't see the banding, you're not distracted by something other than the content. When you don't see the artifacts, you're not distracted by them. Basically, it adds to the level of enjoyment and immersion. So you don't have to be a videophile or know the lexicon to talk about this stuff and appreciate it. You can just sit there and appreciate it. And that's why I wanted to talk about Sony's X1 Ultimate Processor. It really is the differentiator here between this 8K TV and other 8K TVs that are out there. Guys, they've been doing this forever. They make the cameras, they make the reference grade monitor I showed you earlier. They're making the TVs so that they can retain the detail that is captured and then mastered up on this particular screen. And ideally, you're getting that from this TV to one of their OLEDs to maybe one of their less expensive LED TVs like the X950G, which is already out there and being sold right now. I can tell you from experience that Sony does a great job of preserving detail in bright highlight areas. And again, when you're looking at a lamp that has more detail than a lamp that has less detail, it's hard to say that that's something that you would hone in on specifically while you're watching a movie. But again, it's that big picture thing. When you take it all in, you just get this more satisfying image. There's a reason that Sony TVs look the way they look. And I'm really pleased to say that Sony's managed to keep that look, maybe even make it a little bit better at 8K resolution on an 85-inch TV. Yes, it is expensive. No, there is no 8K content for this right now, but it does a great job of upscaling 4K content and making it look better at this screen size. Bottom line, I think Sony has done a really good job. Now, I'm gonna have to dig into this TV and really put it through the ringer. You're gonna find out much more in my written review, but I will say for right now that for this Gen 1 groundbreaking first time out technology, we're starting from a really, really good spot, and I know it's just gonna get better from here.